So let me get this straight.
All right.
A dismissive avoidant will shut down in an argument, will say, I don't know, will completely ignore you for days and weeks on end about your needs or what you want or a conversation you want to have. Okay, that's what you're telling.
Yes.
You're telling me a grown person cannot simply say, you made me angry.
That's right.
A grown person can't say, I'm not ready to have this conversation because we're both really upset, but let's revisit it in about an hour or two so we can talk.
Correct.
Telling me a grown person does not know that their significant other, the person they claim to love, is crying in front of them begging for clarification. That's some BS right there.
It's not that they don't know, it's that they were never taught the skills necessary to be able to handle that.
That dismissive avoidant can tell you their feelings. They can tell you what's wrong. They can tell you they don't want to talk right now, maybe later. They actually can do that because they're grown-ups.
No, just because someone has physically reached adulthood, it does not mean they have automatically developed all the skills necessary for navigating adult life. Physically, you develop no matter what. Everybody ages, you can't help that. But mentally and emotionally, they are stunted.
This idea that they're just incapable of saying, this bothered me, it's BS. It's not true. It's simply not true.
It's not just an idea, it's something we have plenty of evidence for from decades of research backed up by science.
They are grown adults.
It's kind of ironic, we're talking about dismissive avoidance, you're being more dismissive here. It's not as simple as that. What you have to understand is during infancy and childhood, they did express themselves. They had no choice, in the limited ways that babies and children can do that. However, when they did do that, they were either ignored, criticized, or even punished. And when the one person you have no choice but to rely on rejects you like that, you have no choice but to shut down. Because it's not a choice, it's what their nervous system learned. This is what happens when you express feelings. This is dangerous, let's pull away. And eventually it becomes ingrained in their mind. The child will now associate feelings, emotions, love with danger because that's all they know. They still have those feelings, but the words to describe it never get developed. Because not only were they not taught how to express those emotions, they were taught that emotions are not okay. It's not something they're consciously aware of, it's something their body and brain has done in order to protect them. So when they enter adult relationships as they get older, and these problems inevitably come up again in those relationships, these intense emotions, they do what the only thing they know how to, shut down, pull away. They don't choose to, it's a defense mechanism. So if it feels like you're talking to a child, that's basically what it is, because they were stunted in those formative years. They didn't get to develop beyond that.
I'm sorry. No, that is not going to fly with me.
That's because you've made a judgment before you've grasped a real understanding of it. Avoidants protect themselves by pulling away, because they learned early on that relying on other people is dangerous. You can't depend on them. Similar to anxiously attached people. They are intense, hypervigilant. They have a sixth sense of danger. They will read into everything, and they will panic and think you're going to leave them over any inconsistency. Because that's what they learned early on. They had love, but it was very inconsistent. So they are the way they are because of that. They need constant reassurance. Then you have disorganized attachment, where your caregivers is not even a source of love, but also a source of danger. Which is why you constantly have to push and pull, the hot and cold, because they want the love, but they also are terrified of it.
The reason they do that is to feed their ego. When you are looking at a dismissive avoidant partner, begging them for clarification, begging them to talk to you, you're reaching out to them, you're texting them, or you're at home and you're trying to talk to them, whatever the case may be, and you're trying to talk and they just shut you out. They love it.
No, they don't. They hate it because they don't know how to handle it. And because they don't know how to handle it, they get overwhelmed by it. And because they get overwhelmed by it, they have no choice but to shut down. They have no choice but to pull away. Because they learn that feelings are dangerous, and they don't know how to confront their own feelings because they were never taught it. Again, they don't know how to handle their own feelings. They certainly can't handle yours.
They love that ego feed. They need it. They crave it, and they thrive on it.
That's true. They do like being wanted. They just don't know how to handle it.
Their ego just goes crazy with that attention. They love it. They want you to chase them within their comfort zone. Now, you start stalking them too much or encroaching too much, yeah, they're probably going to get a little uncomfortable, but they like it to a certain degree.
Yeah, because they were being offered something they were never given before. But unfortunately, at the same time, they don't trust it.
And they like the control. What a dismissive avoidant partner loves more than anything on this planet is to have a partner whose emotions and actions they can control.
No, what an avoidant partner loves more than anything is to feel safe. And if they have a partner that does not challenge them and makes them feel safe, that's the dream. Not the actual dream, because they're emotionally unavailable. So if they have a partner that doesn't push them to sit with their emotions, to them, that's safety. It's not out of control, it's out of self-preservation.
And what they do is at the beginning of the relationship, they watch you, they observe you, they test you, and they see how you react. Once they know that they can manipulate you, it is no holds barred. They will absolutely destroy you emotionally.
Not intentionally, but yeah.
Because you feel like you're, a puppet and they're a marionette. You really can't, it's hard to get, away from them and not let them control your emotions. So yeah, to that idea that they can't express their emotions is it's BS. It's total BS.
It's not though, as I've just explained. It's their nervous system protecting them from what they perceive to be a dangerous situation based on their life experience.
Yes, because their need to control
Need to stay safe, you mean?
and their ego supersedes their inability to convey their emotions or what they're trying to express.
Again, it's not about ego, it's about self-preservation. The nervous system's job is to keep you safe. It doesn't care about your happiness, it doesn't care about ego. All it cares about is keeping you alive, and it will do anything to make sure that happens. It disappoints me when you have people that have this attitude towards avoidance or any insecure attachment styles. Because if unhealed or self-aware but unhealed avoidants see this, they will reach the conclusion that they already believe that nobody understands them and that people don't really care about them. And when they see videos like this, you prove them right. So when they see that attitude, they won't think, oh crap, I need to heal. They'll think, I knew it. They don't get it. None of you get it. And unfortunately, a lot of people will agree with her take, not because there's any truth to it, but because it reinforces a personal incredulity that people already have towards avoidance, because they are still in pain from their experience with one. And it may be easier for them to process that pain or not process it if you are inclined to go along with the idea that they are just a terrible person and there isn't nuance to this. I get how that can help you cope, but that isn't productive for you or the avoidant. We need to be careful not to reinforce the preconceptions the avoidant already feels about themselves. There needs to be a better understanding there and a willingness to understand. I want other avoidants to be healing like myself, but we need to be careful about how we're encouraging that. This is not it. Do better.